All right, welcome back to Humans of Grappling, where we explore the intersection of grappling and everything else in life. We talk about applying grappling to everyday life and everyday life to grappling. We're here today with Jiu-Jitsu black belt out of Half Gracie, Berkeley, Doug Ancey. He's a technical writer and repeat guest of the show, friend of the
Hey,
show. Doug, welcome to the show.
hey, good to be back, man. Thanks for having me
Appreciate
on.
it. Yeah, sure. Thanks for coming on, volunteering, in fact.
I mean,
So,
I see a topic I like. It's hard to not talk about it.
right, exactly. But first off, sounds like you have a competition coming up like
hmm
this week.
My very first ADCC
Oh
Open.
wow, okay. Oh nice.
Yeah, San Jose. So I'm cutting a little bit more than I'm used to, but we're ready
Oh
for it.
gee. Okay, nice. So what are you doing? 66 or
Uh,
77?
60. Well, actually, I think,
Oh, it's different,
with the
right?
opens
Yeah.
have those like
Yeah.
staggered weights, and
Right.
so
Yeah.
normally I'd be doing 77s because it's just down to 170. Easy, can make that
Yep.
easy, without
Hmm.
having to like sauna myself, even though I probably would. Like, it's
Right.
so interesting to see like the differences with the day before weigh-ins versus with the day of,
Yeah.
whereas like the day of, I'm just water loading and I am not saunaing myself at all because I'll just get the mass of my body down and be a little bit heavier.
Yep.
And honestly, that's been really good for me. Moving up to middleweight has been awesome.
Nice.
I can eat more. I've been weightlifting more.
There you go.
And I'm like a crusher anyway. I'm a crusher passer. So like it kind of just
Right.
behooves me to be wide. And I'm always
Yeah,
gonna be I'm always
have
gonna
a
be the shorter
little
person.
have a little bit of thickness there.
Yeah, boy,
So,
thick boy season.
yeah, right.
But for this one, it's like, so for the open, it's like 181
Mhm.
or 168. And guys, that day before will be
Yeah.
sucking down for that 181. And I'm
Right.
like,
Yeah.
no thanks. I'll put myself through a little bit of pain. But it's
Right.
weird. I'm staying at like 170 right now, and I'm just
Uh-huh.
trying, and I don't want to get like the mass of my body down there.
Mm.
I'll want to cut the last few pounds because I want
Yeah.
to be able to rehydrate that night and then expand on the rehydration process.
Sure.
You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
I've literally just been visualizing the big, awesome Korean meal I'm going to have after
Oh, there you go.
after the weigh-in.
Right. It'll all be
Yeah,
worth it.
but I'm excited to try the
Cool.
rule set.
Yeah. Your first ADCC just in general?
Just in general. Yes,
Oh,
sir.
wow. Cool. Have you been training the rule set?
Yes. Mostly in like, I'm just telling people like, you got a heel hook, hit it. Like
Mm.
you have stuff like that, hit it, and really in my head, back in my mind, managing the time,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
being like, okay, but it's only 5 minutes still in the match, so I mean, like, it's just 2.5 minutes before points are happening, so I'm like, okay,
Gotcha.
like no big deal.
Yeah.
And
Right.
honestly, my game's not going to change too much. Like
Hmm.
I'm like by aggressing and moving forward, I feel like that's the best way for people to not touch my feet.
There you go.
So
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
you know what I mean.
Yep. Headed hands forward. There you go.
hmm And that's what I
Nice.
do. That's what I
Yeah.
do. Do what I
Right.
do.
Exactly. Cool. Yeah. And I guess, yeah. Are you familiar with like points scoring? Like
Yes, and
the,
how I can like chill on the back. Like if I get a position, I can
yeah.
put myself one step back out of that position and then regain
Hmm.
it and then get more
Yep.
points and I start racking
Yep.
and racking and racking.
There
And
you go.
how like, even if so, like if someone's more aggressive and they're taking more shots but I'm defending and I'm
Yep.
putting them in more compromised situations,
Hmm.
if I don't score, they'll still look at the guy who is shooting as the winner for that. You know what I mean?
I
Unless I put them into a submission or something like that.
exactly. Yeah. I have won a referee's decision on that, on being the
Mhm.
more aggressive guy. So
But
that's definitely,
I like to wrestle, so I mean, like,
yeah,
please
for sure.
please stand with me. Like,
Right.
I'm gonna make you sit. Like,
Let me bang, bro.
yeah,
Just let me just stand and club each other. And
yep.
that, that's a fun Saturday afternoon.
I think
There
so.
you go.
It'll be good. It'll
Right.
be good.
Yeah.
And I've
Sweet.
also heard that the weigh-ins are kind of a clusterfuck. Pardon my French, but
Yeah.
that like kids go from 4 to 5, and
Mm.
then even if you get there at 5, you are going to be waiting in line for like an
Yeah.
hour
No,
and a
you
half.
get there an hour early. Like that's the trick
Like, just
is,
I'm aiming for 6:30. Yeah, and they end at 7.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, that's, yeah, it's always fun. It's always
hmm
good to, yeah, get out there and, yeah, I mean, especially testing yourself in a new rule set there. That's that's definitely like makes you really focus on something, like really like kind of hones your game in, like
Yeah.
you're more thinking about your A game, rather like it's cool and it's fun to expand and kind of do whatever like skill development phase, but like
Right.
kind of
Well, and it's also good for that for to exist in that first half of the match
yeah,
where I don't have to worry about losing position,
sure,
where
yeah, right,
and just be like, okay, I have a sub here,
mm-hmm,
or I can kind of really hit more stuff that I would do in the gym, like where you're like, okay, I'm not going to force this. I'll concede this position here, but I got you. Like I'm setting
yep,
something else up on the back end of that.
there you go, nice, cool, sweet. So I guess yeah, how do you feel um like mentality going into that? It sounds like you're like you're treating it like an open role in a gym, like
Pretty much.
is yeah, that's how.
Well, especially because I got some guys in one at least one dude from my gym that's in my division,
Oh, okay, nice.
and there's a
Just an
guy
open mat.
pretty much.
Yeah.
There's another friend of mine who we've competed against each other a bunch.
Oh, nice.
So I mean, I'm sure I may run into people who know my game,
Yeah,
and that just means kind of turning it up to 11. And
there you
I'm
go.
like, I'm gonna get you anyway. Like I'm
Right.
not gonna be nice. Like
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like it's a you want to be, yeah, so dominant that like even if they know what you're gonna do, like you're still gonna do it.
right.
So yeah, sweet, cool. So anyways, that's kind of just kind of timely news for you, but kind of overall what we wanted to chat about, and we're
Yeah.
both pretty passionate about, is mental health, and kind of there's a stigma around medication, and
Yes.
kind of we chatted a little bit about this last time, but just kind of to dive in more maybe into this topic of how how do we manage ourselves
Hmm.
with like how do we feel day to day, or how do we like think day to day, and I guess yeah, where did you want to kick us off, or like go in a direction?
I mean, the it's important for people recognizing a stigma around it is important, but
Yeah,
it's always good to think. I think we talked about this last time.
yeah,
People think tend to be cause and effect
yeah,
thought minded instead of thinking about the root problem.
mm-hmm,
Like, and uh, I think what I don't like, what I see is how people kind of pick and choose things from the medical world that they don't like, and then they kind of
mm-hmm,
apply that to the broader medical world in general.
sure,
Like, people talk about this with nutrition. Like, yes, America has issues with its food quality and things like that, but
yep,
the system was made within a context that needs to be observed and
yeah,
understood
yeah,
before you can go about like trying to tear the whole thing down. The Especially the same thing about like medication. Like I
mm-hmm,
get that you could have a critique that the medical industry might prescribe these things uh, too quickly. They might
mm-hmm,
not take a more holistic approach to mental health with like how people are uh, addressing their lives. But you have to also understand that people have to exist in a system where they have to work. They
yeah,
have to most of the time be sitting a lot all day. They may not have an
right,
opportunity to get out. They may have families. They may not have an opportunity to get out and exercise or eat as clean
mm-hmm,
um, uh, as it were. Like
yeah,
how many people do you know that have little kids that are just like, yeah, my diet went to shit because I'm eating carbs with my kid,
yeah,
like because it's easy. Yeah.
yeah, exactly, yeah, they're eating little kid food because
Yeah.
that's what's available,
So
because little kids just yeah,
I think it's important to have those barriers in mind, or that like the
yeah,
different sides of the argument in
sure,
mind about this, because when they work, like when medication works, like it really works. I'm
yeah,
telling this is coming from somebody. I've been ADHD my entire life,
mm-hmm,
diagnosed as a kid, like
mm-hmm,
the classic experience, been on Ritalin like for years. I got off it when I was 25
mm-hmm,
because I was, you know, still distracting myself at work, even on the drugs, and I wanted to think about a different way
sure,
to go about tackling this,
yeah,
and you know, it's still an amphetamine. So there's like value to that criticism, but you can't just throw all of that out
Sure.
by saying like these things are innately harmful, because they're not. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like depression and mood stabilizers literally help save people's lives and help them function. I know somebody
Oh
who,
yeah.
and there's cases where you can use them and then get off of them. There's cases where people don't want to get off of them. Like they're like,
Hmm.
I like how I feel like
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
these things.
Exactly.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I had a friend
Hmm.
who lost his parent and needed and used Lexapro to like
Hmm.
work still to be able to
Yeah.
function, you know,
Right.
and
Yeah.
it's a real thing.
Yep. Yeah. Definitely. That's like that was the SRI I was on for about a year. Like
I'm
from
still on an
like
SSRI
okay, yeah.
solo.
So yeah, yeah. No, it. I went from like basically Thanksgiving to Thanksgiving, like from 2023 to I don't know. That's just how it worked out, I guess.
Yeah.
And I just kind of forgot to take it this last Thanksgiving, and my psychiatrist was like, "Oh, you're doing okay without it? All right, fine. Like
Yeah, it's fine.
it's never it's not like a you have to do it
Right.
forever."
And
Um,
I just don't like the aspect of like how people are like, you're getting a doctor's getting kickbacks for this or whatever. I'm like,
right?
a
Yeah.
person wouldn't put themselves into six figures of medical student loan debt
Right.
and go through this stuff
Yeah.
to do something that would hurt you. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's an applied science. People are just trying to
Hmm.
figure out things as they go. Like
Yep.
as we get more and more knowledge about this stuff, and
Yeah.
people are different. Like that's basically where this comes down to, you know.
Yeah. Exactly. Each person has a different like genetic makeup,
Yeah,
different like physiology, like all kinds of yeah, like you said, context
I stayed
of.
on the SSRI specifically because, like, I talked to my doctor about it. You know, there's a thing with ADHD where there there's a, I think I told you this last time we talked, where people can really um, get over the inattentiveness, the executive dysfunction, the hyperfocus. What really grinds people is like the mood swings with
Hmm.
ADHD, particularly into rage. Like that's a real
Hmm.
thing where people like you have a minor thing like a traffic uh thing. Not that road rage doesn't happen to a lot of people,
Right.
but a
Sure.
minor inconvenience, and you're it's harder for people with ADHD to control that escalation. That
Sure.
SSRI, very low dose for me,
Hmm.
has been very beneficial for that. Very beneficial
Gotcha.
for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I've noticed. Like when I was on, it was just it kind of cuts out the upper and lower
Hmm.
ends of experience just
Yep.
because like you can't deal like if you're considering going on SSRI, it's because you can't deal with the
Oh,
volatility
yes,
between
exactly.
highs and lows, right? So
Hmm.
you're just kind of like scrunching the amount of experience down a
Right.
little bit just so you can like be a little bit more like I don't know, consistent or little
Yes.
bit
You
more
still
like
have
yeah.
emotions. Like
Yeah.
you still
Yeah,
feel
for
your
sure.
emotions. You still feel your feelings. You could still
Yeah.
cry. Like,
Right.
you
Oh yeah,
know what I mean?
for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, it's just like it helps people like just deal with their lives a little bit better, like
Right.
it's a little bit easier. So
Correct.
yeah, and I like when I first went on, it was I felt like it was kind of meditation on steroids,
Hmm.
where I could like control my thoughts so much better
Yeah.
because I would usually like so I have anxiety, like I took it for anxiety. I was like, oh
Oh, right.
fuck,
Yeah, we talked about that.
I yeah I'm gonna die. Like I would get these like crazy feelings of
Like a panic
oh my
attack,
heart
almost.
yeah panic attacks like I don't know weekly or every other week, which
Damn.
would be just absolutely crippling
Yeah.
and just kind of throw me off. And I don't know, I would go to all these different doctors and like they'd all say I'm fine, like there's nothing wrong with you, and I'm like, but I don't know, why do I feel it's just that it's just my body kind of not being able to deal with the uncertainty of like this wild swing of emotion.
Right.
So it's just like if I just cut off a little bit off the top, a little bit off the bottom, and
Right.
just kind of stay a little bit more neutral, that really helped me out and really regulated. I learned to regulate
Yeah.
myself,
Regulation's the key. Yeah, that's
and
the word.
over time is like when I kind of when I basically I came off of it, I was like, oh, I felt a little. I was like, oh shit, I'm coming off the roller coaster a little bit, but Like I have
You had already
more
gained you're
tools.
exactly. I was about to say you had
Yeah.
already established those pathways within your head of how to deal with it, and that's kind of
Yeah.
what that allows you to do.
Yeah, exactly.
The other thing I was going to say, like if we're getting back to that food analogy, like
Sure.
again, you got to take the whole thing in context.
Yeah.
So like people will hold Europe up, for example, as a standard as for
Hmm.
like food quality without
Yeah.
like taking into the other effects where they're like, hey, they got universal health care, so people don't have to worry about medical bills or medical debt. They
Right.
may not be putting off some medical things. They have walkable cities where
Oh
people
yeah.
are not dependent on cars, or not and have better public transit, so they can get
Hmm.
up, walk. That's better. That's more exercise. That's better for
Yep.
you. They
Outside in the sun, like
outside
like
in the sun. Yes,
yeah.
they they do have some different food qualities, but it's not all that different. Like
Yeah.
uh, from the U.S. I would say that
Hmm.
the biggest difference is probably like how we will mess with our crops. We mess with our crops a little bit more to increase yield, which affects
Sure.
people somewhat. But
Right.
people have to understand that food system came about like after World War II, where people needed like we were like
Oh
we
yeah.
need to feed our expanding population, and so like that. I think that
Yeah.
context is really important. Same thing with the
Exactly.
medical fields, like the rhetoric around demonizing those type, especially ADHD medication, which is already in a manufactured shortage
Hmm.
in this country,
Interesting. Really.
or SSRIs, is extremely concerning to me. Very, very concerning.
Hmm.
Because like you can't just go messing with people's medication like this. Like
Yeah.
it requires a huge overhaul. So,
Right.
are there other ways to deal with ADHD or your depression or other medical things outside of that with supplements? Sure,
Yeah.
maybe. But that's also a cost. That's also money. That's also
Hmm.
less regulated.
Yeah.
And um, there, I don't, and you that still doesn't account for the extremes of people, because I know people who are so ADHD that like without medication they couldn't even read, bro.
Oh wow.
Because they couldn't focus on the words like
Sure.
on a sentence like on
Hmm.
that, and that's a real thing. Like
Yeah.
so,
Yeah. Right. Yeah, no, it's a weird, like, I don't know, arbitrary line to draw
correct.
of like, oh, if you need medication, you're
Weak.
less than or something like that. Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. Especially in this macho alpha male grind set culture.
Right. I was going to say it
In
definitely bleeds into jujitsu culture that
yeah,
way, or that
yeah,
as
yeah,
a
exactly.
part of jujitsu culture where,
Yeah.
the individualism in the jiu-jitsu culture is something that people have talked about for a long time. It's still here.
Yep.
It's still pervasive, but
Yeah.
it gives up. It's relying on things on a like a naturalistic past that didn't really exist.
Sure.
Like
Right.
and in a systems that don't exist anymore.
Mhm.
And yeah, so I know what you mean. Because I want to, if anybody's listening, I really want to reemphasize that you have emotions because you're human,
Yeah.
and to have empathy about this isn't a weakness. And like I've been in therapy my entire life. It's very beneficial for some people. Like there's a
Mhm.
lot of different types of therapy that you can go into that's not just talk and cognitive
Mhm.
based.
Yep.
Um, and it's important to talk to people about this shit, you know?
Oh yeah, yeah. No, yeah, because it otherwise it kind of draws people into a corner. Like
Correct.
if you're a young person in this jujitsu culture thing, and jujitsu is my therapy, bro, or whatever, right? And you still don't feel good after your therapy. Like where else are you gonna
Where are
go?
you gonna go? Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, you've seen my boy Blake, right? Blake
Mhm.
Krasimir, Blake the
Oh
Pit Man.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, he's awesome. Him and I used to
yeah.
train up at Home Lowe's in San
Oh
Francisco.
really? Oh
Yeah,
shit.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I
Dang.
knew him before he popped off.
Nice.
I love his storytelling, but like he
Yeah.
had that. He's got a video that's going around again where it's just like, I don't know. He needs to hear this, but jujitsu isn't therapy. Like
Yep.
it's great. Still go. It's a
Yeah.
great place to build community. It's a great third space. You can it feels awesome, like as a
Yeah.
way to physically express some of the emotions that you have, but it's not a
Hmm.
cure all. You know what I mean?
No.
It's kind of that same idea where they're like, if everybody took jujitsu or everyone took this one substance, their mind would be changed forever. And they like, no, just because you do jujitsu doesn't mean you're a good person. It requires like
Right.
a lot more extra work to
Yeah.
to get there. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? It
Yeah.
helps. I'm not gonna say it doesn't help,
Yeah.
but you could also destroy your body while you're doing it, and then where are you gonna be? Like,
Right.
you know?
Yeah. No, for sure. And like like you get wear and tear by doing it, and it so emphasizes destruction. Like we learn how to destroy each other's joints, we
Yeah,
learn how to like compress each other's necks, but you have to kind of figure out yourself how to maintain your own body and
correct.
how to like maintain your own mind throughout that whole thing.
Hmm.
It's not a complete martial art. Like martial arts used to be like the entire thing, like you're into like a whole
Yes,
lifestyle
yes,
of like sumo wrestling. They have like sumo wrestling academies, and they do like all kinds of other stuff outside of the ring,
right.
training and
There's a culture behind it.
yeah, exactly. Like
Oh,
they,
another great example of that is like Okinawan karate that literally
mm-hmm,
came about as a result of their colonization by Japan. So like
mm,
because they couldn't have weapons, and so like that
okay,
relied on having developing a martial prowess, and then that got infused with that culture along with it.
right,
It's
yeah,
it's it's again like and that can go both ways too. How people need to understand how like it's a tool and
yeah,
as part of you can use it as a very positive tool as part of your culture, but there's
yeah,
also if we're talking about say like more nationalistic or right wing like ideology or individualistic ideology, like there's that inherent call back to tradition that is also a part of martial arts that people need to realize that's like that you have to grapple with or integrate in a positive way, not a negative
mm,
way. You know what I mean?
sure, yeah, yeah. Like there's a what the my favorite kind of, I think where we're getting at is like understand why things are the way they are
Yes.
before you start like ripping them out and like tearing
Hmm.
things down.
Yes.
It's this thing that I like to refer to as Chesterton's fence. Like this
Oh,
concept. Have you heard this one?
no.
No. It's just like there's a
I'm
fence
looking
in the
up right
middle
now.
of this like pasture, and you don't know why this fence is here. It's in the middle of nowhere, but you're like, I want to tear it down. But then it turns out it's like there's
Mm,
it's there for a reason. Like
yeah.
it's there for something important. But if you don't stop to ask why it's there, you just kind of like tear it down, and then maybe you have to like relearn the lesson of the
Right.
fence of like
And that
why
just
it's
seems
there.
to be, it seems to be an unfortunate aspect of the paradigm we're in right now, where
Yeah.
like a lot of people are like that move fast and break things stuff. They're just
Right.
like, I feel like a huge part of that is just finding out why something is there in the first place.
Yeah.
I saw something
Yeah.
on, I think it was Threads or Twitter where somebody was coming out against libraries, right? And they're like, "Hey, we know why these exist because of underserved youth." And somebody was just like, "Why can't we just buy the books for underserved people?" And they're like, "Congratulations, you just invented a library again."
Yeah,
Like,
right. Yeah, exactly. Right. It's yeah. I move fast and break things. Like
I don't
that
like it.
emphasize. When I was young and naive, I was like, oh, I want to like change the world. Like I specifically the Facebook movie, The Social Network.
Hmm. Hmm.
You watch it? Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it.
I feel like everybody in tech has seen it.
Hmm.
And like I used to feel things. I was like, oh yeah, let me go out and change the world and like rah rah, like go, and it made me like want to go do stuff. Now I watch it again, older, more experience, more
And you're like,
whatever,
"Oh
more
no."
perspective. I'm like, oh no, like I've been through some of that shit,
Hmm.
and
It's not
I
fun,
it's
or
not
it's not
fun. No,
helpful.
yeah,
Right.
or just yeah, interpersonal conflicts, like just all kinds of like I don't know, things that get messed up when you try to go too fast and
Right.
money gets involved and you get it out over your skis
Hmm.
and you end up just hating each other over
Yeah.
yeah, basically nothing. So I don't know.
Over nothing.
It's just
Yeah.
it just feels like yeah, moving fast and breaking things that works in a very like small context, like
Correct.
where the breakable things aren't are like
Essential.
resettable.
Correct.
I call okay. So this is the mid podcast plug for Sandbox BJJ,
Hey,
and like the
yeah,
games are
I see
resettable.
you're like in a huge like intellectual spat between eco people and non-eco people.
A little bit. I try to stay out of it, and
Okay,
I just try
yeah,
to
yeah.
post.
Don't fight. Don't fight.
This is what I'm doing. Like I'm just posting games. This is how I'm running my classes,
Hmm.
and the kind of my context for like sandbox is that it's a defined boundary
Hmm.
that we're playing in, and then we can just always reset. Like we can always build up the sandcastle and tear it down, and
Yeah,
everything's okay. We can move that fast and break things in this
within our
context.
boundaries, yes.
Yeah,
Within the
yeah,
boundaries, yes.
right.
You can't strip out like and then like all mission critical systems for a company and expect it to work well. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You can strip out other
sure.
stuff. You can absolutely cut fat. You can absolutely like see where things are.
Hmm.
That's going to be, I think, a big challenge. I think for companies and systems coming up with AI tools and ML tools being increasingly used. Like, how are you integrating this well? Like, what's your cost, the actual human collateral that you have? Uh, we'll say in the business terms, human capital.
Yeah,
Uh,
right.
and don't like the term, but that's the way it is.
Yeah.
And like, are you optimizing that in the right way? Can you retrain these people
Hmm.
to use that kind
Yeah,
of thing? So yeah,
sure.
man. Actually, it's interesting that you said virtual engineer because that's like one of
Yeah,
the critiques where like you're taking
yeah,
away these tasks from these things that would be great for a junior engineer at a company.
sure.
Like, hey, do
Yeah,
this refactor on this database and link it back to this new data point that we have in this database. And
yeah,
that's a great thing for a junior engineer to do because they'll get confidence with doing a task, committing it,
yeah,
and seeing if it breaks in a safe environment. You know what I
for
mean?
sure. Yeah,
Not in
yeah.
that environment. Now you're just taking that away. So like,
Yeah, yeah, in a sandbox environment
mm-hmm.
where where they can. Where did I get that from, Doug?
Yeah.
It's it like this all connects. So yeah, like yeah, like people need training. Like we need. How do senior engineers get made?
Correct.
Because they come from the. I was a junior engineer at one point, and I was
Right.
a. I graduated college. I even had a master's degree, and I still didn't know anything.
Right.
Like we,
Same thing with senior writers, man. I made a
yeah,
ton of mistakes when I
yeah.
was younger, and it took like harsh criticism in a safe environment where I could learn and like
Yep.
do that. That's the only way people learn. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Through
Yeah.
doing it.
Everybody starts at white belt with something,
Hmm.
with everything. I mean, like if you wanted to become a master of anything, like I have a master's degree and I was not a master at all. That's
Right.
like, for whatever reason, people view that as with such high regard, but that was just an unpaid year at the very beginning of my career.
Yeah.
Like it basically means nothing.
It's
Like,
just a jump start into the concept, like the advanced concepts of, in this case, was it CS?
yeah. Yeah.
Ah, you are. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I guess
Whereas
I did learn like some,
so you
yeah,
learn a
some
little bit more than somebody coming right out of college, but like, and maybe
yeah,
able to apply that in a specific business sense instead of just the rote
sure.
concepts. But
Right.
yeah, I know what you mean. Like,
Yeah.
exactly. It's just, I feel like for the master's degree, this allows you to integrate at a high level faster. You know what I mean? You still need training. You still need specific
Yeah.
knowledge about the product that you're working on, stuff like
Right.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. I just know how to read and write papers. Like
Hmm.
I'm a little bit more well versed in like scientific literacy of like, okay, this is how a paper is written and they use these terms. And you have to think about the boundaries,
Right.
conditions of how they set up their whatever experiment,
Right.
running code, doing whatever. And
Right.
I took a peek at like, I did like some like machine learning stuff back in the day,
Yeah.
10 years ago, and now it probably doesn't apply at all.
No.
Like it's completely changed.
That is
So
the thing about
yeah,
AI. It's not like right
yeah,
now. It's going to be 10 years from now
yeah,
what it's going to be. Uh,
exactly. Yeah,
so, but I like you can't. I'm not trying to knock those tools completely. I
sure.
use those tools because as a technical writer, you need to engage in code.
Yeah,
Uh, so like it's very helpful if I'm like, hey, if I'm working in like say a cloud environment, like, hey, can you give me a Python script to connect this load balancer to an Amazon cloud deployment? Like, because I don't know how to do that. And they're like, yeah, sure, here you go. And then you can take that and bring it to an engineer and be like, hey, does this look right? Is this correct? I
right.
want to use this as an example in my
Yeah,
doc. Like, how do you think? Actually, one of the things that I've done uh, is you can train a model on your doc style and
Oh
like a
yeah.
doc style guide. It's
Uh-huh.
still clunky if you're putting in like a say a outline and then trying to have it produce finished doc. That's still pretty clunky. But what I can do is put in a much more finished draft and be like, hey, here's administrative guide style material. Can you convert this to a markdown language
Hmm.
style so I can apply it to an
Hmm.
API update and put it in Git or wherever we're putting that stuff.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
yeah, it's great, like that kind of thing. So yeah,
Gotcha.
unfortunately, I still got laid off because of it.
Even though you leveraged AI,
It doesn't
it's
matter,
just
like how the league isn't like that. Full disclosure, hi everybody, Mike and I used to work together at
right.
Workday, and I just got laid off in a riff that
Right.
affected 1,700 people.
Yeah, it was
There,
terrible.
dude, a ton of my doc team got affected. Like
Oh man.
a lot of them, and some senior people, like team leads, like
Yeah.
directors, like there's a senior person, some field readiness architects that I work with got. They're trying to get back into the org and a little bit higher up, but I don't know about. I haven't seen any technical writing postings that I'm
Right.
jazzed for to go
Sh-
back there.
Sure.
Uh, has anything affected you guys on your team?
Um, I haven't seen anybody on my immediate team
Mm-hmm.
get it
You're
impacted,
mobile,
but
right?
no, I'm over in the core the OMS. Like
Gotcha.
now we're inside baseball, like
Yeah,
workday,
yeah, yeah.
like all of
Sorry, guys.
I don't know, maybe one person who works with
Yeah,
us. I
right.
don't know. But yeah, I think
Still a great company,
we're
everybody. If you have an
sure. Yeah,
opportunity to apply,
it's
you should.
sure. Yeah, but DevOps is still not super affected by
Hmm.
AI just yet, because systems are complex and
Yes.
we can't feed in the entire network architecture or
Right.
all the pipelines. We can't tell it, hey, just make this thing work.
No,
Glue all these things together.
it's still the foundation on which most of these things are running. So I totally
Yeah,
understand that.
yeah.
Another good book, if people want to know about that, is called The AI Mirror,
Mm,
and uh, written by Professor at Santa Clara. Shout out. But it's talking about like kind of unpacking a lot of the fluff around and marketing around some of these products and how
sure.
it's just as good as the data that it has. That's all. Like,
Yep.
and it reflects us. That's what it is.
Right. Yeah, and that's kind of an interesting thing is that it's biased towards what, like whatever you ask it, like whatever, like I
Like
think the
humans.
first, yeah, it's like humans. It's um there's we inherently have bias, and whatever questions we ask it has a bias.
Yeah.
So that you're kind of leading the this junior engineer or whatever, you're asking it, hey, how do I solve this problem?
Right.
And embedded in that question is our assumptions, are just things that you just assume it to know,
Correct.
and it just wants to give you something, and maybe it gives you a completely wrong answer and just
Right.
invents something
Right.
that it it thinks that you want to know,
Hmm.
but it doesn't have anything on it, so it just kind of hallucinates and makes things up. So
Right. Right. I mean, I've kind of gotten away from mental health, but say it,
yeah. Sure, sure.
whatevs, bro. It's good to.
Right.
It's all that stuff is still connected. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah. No, and I guess I mean, okay.
Sorry, I kind
Segue.
of derailed you there.
No, that's fine. Hallucinations. I don't know. Bring it back to mental health. Um, I guess. Yeah. No, I feel like there's that's actually one of the key things I like about this podcast is just being able to jump around, and
Yeah,
just
dude.
because we're whole people. Like we it's not just this vertical of jujitsu, and
Hmm.
all we do is talk about jujitsu. It's like we
Hmm.
have disparate interests that all kind of connect together
Right.
and are entry points into everything else. So, but yeah, mental health, super important. I end all my classes with meditation, with
Oh,
like a
cool.
1 minute super, just like dip your toe in the water of like, this is what it's like to take care of
Focus.
your mental health a little bit.
I tend
And
to
it's just
definitely
it's
use
just a
my
tool.
soapbox a little bit more. I will. I just always try to remind people that like, hey, I'm here. Like, if you need to talk,
Yeah.
we unfortunately had in the RGB community lost somebody.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, it sucks. It's not a good situation.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I didn't know him, and I had and a lot. He was kind of an OG of
Yeah.
that area, and so like a lot
Mm.
of I think some of the older guys that have been with the gym for a while are taking it a lot harder. And I just made sure to tell people that like, yo, uh, I've been there. I've had friends that have, taken their life, and I've
Yeah.
talked to them like very recently before it happened. And
Fuck.
I know what you guys are going through. So like,
Yeah.
I'm here. Like, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, I
Right.
talk to people, you know, feel your emotions, like feel your
Yeah.
feelings and reach out if you're struggling with it. Like, cause it just,
Yeah.
you need to, people exist in community and you need to help it. I steal or I use a saying, by my old coach, Homolo Mello in
Mm.
San Francisco. Shout out Homelos. If you're there, go check it out. But the mat's a good place for your pain. Like,
Sure.
like it's a
Mm.
really good place for your pain. But
Yeah.
the community has been, is always really supportive, and people are definitely, I think, getting through it. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Train long enough and just life happens. Just
hmm
shit happens. And it's a very rare thing because like jujitsu, you join a gym, now you know 300 more people
yeah,
that you that you wouldn't have before
hmm
previously. Or if you stay in the sport long enough, 10 years, maybe you know thousands of people.
yeah,
And all across there, it's a deep network, and there's always going to be something that comes up,
hmm
and stuff that you can like kind of support the community in whatever way possible, whether that's directly like, yeah, somebody in your gym like
right,
has a emergency or whatever,
right,
like, or just, oh, kind of broadly like GoFundMe's and whatnot. Like I just feel like it's, you don't you don't get out of this alive, just in general. Like
correct.
we don't get out of this alive. Nobody's but we're all here to like support each other in this
And
weird thing that we have.
humans are supposed to exist in community, and so
Yeah.
like in a world, technically, if we're talking about the U.S.,
Yeah.
that's increasingly devoid of those third spaces, like I said, or
Yep.
areas that build community outside of drinking or
Yeah.
social life, like that, spending money. It's a great uh, way to do that, and
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why people like gravitate towards it and stay too much. But it's
Yeah.
all incumbent upon the gym to try to foster that environment that they want. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
I like RGB a lot because they've done that. Like, they have specific women's open mats. We have a huge open mat on Sunday where like a lot of the Bay Area people come in. I think
Nice.
it's the biggest in the Bay Area, and come out, and it's been great for to expand those networking things. Like I said, for people to just talk and
Yeah.
be cool. We'll have fundraising events there. People like support the people come through with their local businesses, whether it's like an acai thing or a taco
Mm.
thing or what have you. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's a great way to leverage that. And then as the deeper you get, you just start talking to people. You get yourself involved in text threads and group threads, and people are
Right.
like, "Yeah, I'm going out. Who wants to come out?" Like that kind of
Yeah.
thing. And
Sure.
it's a real air. I love the aspect of you have a community that you can just tap into and
Yeah.
uh, use when you need.
For sure. Yeah. No, and like it's a yeah, it's a cross section of humanity. It's a cross
Yeah,
section of your local community of like,
it
you've
is.
got you've got plumbers, you've got police, you've got like all kinds of different, yeah, local businesses. And
Finance guys
yeah.
from all different socioeconomic areas,
Yeah.
and it's a really good. That's a really good cross section there for sure. For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, it's just always a my wife always hates it when I see somebody like, just where we're walking down the strip or something like that, and somebody comes up to me, it's like, oh, hey, what's up, Mike? And I'm like, afterwards, I'm like, the Jiu-Jitsu Network, and she
Yeah,
fucking
right.
hates,
It's like,
she hates it, she hates it. But yeah, you get to know, yeah, so many people, and especially
You
just
also get
at
to see them grow. Like
yeah,
you
yeah,
get to see them grow. You get to see them create families and
hmm
expand communities. You
yeah,
get to kind of be there for a lot of ups and downs because
right,
I'm like I said, I'm searching for a job, talking to people about my job search. It's great. Like I had so
yeah,
many people that were just like, yo, if you need a reference, check out my company, like that kind of
nice,
thing. Yeah, it's been great,
yeah,
and really helpful.
yeah,
Even if those resources don't come to fruition, it's just really good to know that, like, the people are there for you,
hmm
that kind of thing.
yeah, right,
Especially as a coach, the more, like, I love the being able to run classes because you start to have much more of a leadership position
hmm
in that area, and people will just start coming up to you and be like, "Yo, can I ask you something about this?" I'm like, "Of course, come on
yeah,
over." Like,
right,
and we were talking about that bully pulpit that you get as a coach and as a class runner.
hmm yeah,
The one thing I always say, I'm like, "Yeah, if you need anything about this position, feel free to come and ask me. But
yeah,
if you're, for example, we were talking about competition earlier, like, if you guys are planning on competing, you think you want to do it, you know, come talk to me. You never try to like, I never try to like force competition on somebody. I think I saw Dante Leon be like, "Oh, you got to decide if you want to." Like, I know people
hmm
are like, "You should do it," and I guess
yeah,
that's cool. But I'm like, you don't want to, you don't have to compete. Like, some people don't
yeah,
like it.
no,
Like, it's
yeah,
fine. Like, or they have families. They have a lot.
sure,
It's life's busy,
yeah,
and instead, I'll always just be like, "Yo, if you need, like, I like to compete a lot, so I'm like, yo, I'm competing this weekend, or next weekend or whatever.
hmm
If you are in the same tournament, let me know. I'll get down there early to coach you. But
hmm
also, like, if you are interested in this, come talk to me. We can talk about game planning. We can talk about nutrition. We can talk about weight management. We can talk
yeah,
about scheduling, how we can talk about mind frame and mindset,
mm,
like
yeah,
goal setting, like
hmm
how you're going to approach each one of these things,
right,
because you don't, a lot of people, I actually, as a little segue, I think you may have heard other jiu-jitsu practitioners talk about this, where, if you go into a competition with that mindset of like, I'm going to win, and you don't,
yeah,
like, that's, you might put some undue pressure on yourself and
yeah,
maybe not perform in the way you did. So I've had to,
mm,
particularly at black belt, let go of that a little bit,
yeah,
where I'm just
mm,
like like it's a weird balance of uh deluding yourself, but then also being okay with outcomes, being
yeah,
like deluding yourself to be like, I'm the fucking best, I'm gonna get in there,
yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff is a great mindset to have. But you also have to be like, put that in the gym and be like,
uh-huh,
more like, I have prepared the
yep,
best that I can, and once the
exactly,
chips fall their way, they fall where they may. And it's been
yep,
very beneficial, I've been, for how I approach fights and uh outcomes, you know.
for sure, yeah, yeah, that's one of my buddies, Caleb. He's a wrestler, super high level wrestler, and he talks about wrestling free. Like you're just free of expectations, and you don't have that tense, like
Right.
like you feel like you have to win or whatever. You're just doing your game. Like you're
Yeah.
just fully expressing what you have, what you've worked on, and you're so confident that you've trained and done everything that you possibly can.
Yeah.
And that's where confidence comes in, is like you have proven it to yourself that you fully believe in what you're doing.
Right.
So
Exactly.
yeah, 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 that's cool. Yeah, and being a coach, that like you're kind of going back to seeing people develop and being
Hmm.
kind of in a leadership position and whatnot, and it's yeah, it's super cool to like watch somebody come in and they don't know how to do any, like they start from zero. Like I've
Yeah.
seen multiple people
Start from
start
nothing.
from zero, nothing, and then they come in and like they stick around for a year, and now they like know a couple things.
Hmm.
They give me a little bit of trouble. I'm
Hmm.
like, okay, now I have to
Like, hey,
like
I showed you that, get out of here.
yeah, right, yeah, exactly, yeah, yeah, it's like hey, how dare you use this stuff
Use
against me?
my own stuff against me,
Right.
or they get used to your stuff, and then it's harder to do that stuff on them,
Yep.
and you're just like,
Yep.
man, I showed you too much stuff.
Yeah. 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 I need to evolve now. I need to do
Yeah.
my go from my A game to my B game and kind of like develop something else,
Hmm.
which is pretty cool.
It's
So
actually helped my guard a
yeah.
lot because
Yeah.
I like to stand up and I like to take down and be pressure forward in a
Uh-huh.
competition. But
Yeah.
like kids have gotten better at wrestling
Mm-hmm.
and doing that stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna sit and we'll see. Like
Yeah.
see how it goes. Helped my half guard a
Right.
lot. Like understood where I want to be. It's given me a lot
Mm.
more awareness of like where I want to be on the ground and like what I'm good at and
Mm.
what I'm not. And
Nice.
yeah, it's good. It's good.
Sweet. Yeah, and being a leader also, like, I've never thought I would be a fucking skin doctor. And like
Dude,
I get so many pictures of people like, "Hey coach, does this look bad?" I'm like, "Yes, go see a fucking
go
doctor."
see a doctor immediately.
Yeah, yeah. Like just don't, if you have even have a question, just go see a doctor.
Go see
Like
a doctor.
I am not qualified for
Right.
this.
I always tell people, I'm like, especially new guys, I'm like, yo, shower, like
Yeah,
shower after that.
yeah,
You
yeah.
get special soap and all that stuff, whatever.
Right.
Just get in there.
Mm.
Like,
Yep.
please stay
Yep.
clean. Like,
Right.
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's funny. Cool. But so I guess bring the kind of wrapping things up here. So overall, like mental health's important, and like kind of the thrust of like kind of why we wanted to talk and why we get along is like we're like two kind of lefty dudes in
yeah.
jiu-jitsu, and like kind of like we care about people, and like
Yeah,
yes, we
man.
want to, and we're competent at jujitsu. It's not like doing jujitsu and we've been around for a while. It's not like it's turned us into Joe Rogan or turned
No,
us into like whatever, some like, I don't know, not to get political or whatever, but it's
it's
like
okay. Everything's political,
there's a
man.
everything is political. It just it's okay to be soft. It's okay to like
Yeah, man.
be like
It's not weakness.
experience both parts of your like
Or be
strong.
vulnerable. I think people are
Be
afraid of being
vulnerable.
vulnerable
Sure.
with that stuff, and they have to put forth an image. And you can have both, man. Like you can be a complete person. Like you can lock
Yeah.
in for a competition and be hard as fuck,
Yeah.
and be ready and be macho and those
Yeah.
things. But it's also like, you know, making sure that you're regulating your emotions and having empathy and space for people to come in and talk and share views,
Right.
and um, it's also important to it's tough to like dance around this because like again we find ourselves in a particular political reality these days
Yeah.
that's distressing to a lot of people,
Sure.
and in a space where you know people like to think of themselves as very accepting in jiu-jitsu of like all people coming in, and
Hmm.
I'd like to see a lot more bigger name people in the sport come out and live that, you know what I mean, and
Mm.
like be able to understand why that's important and why these
Sure.
spaces are needed,
Yeah.
for everyone, you know what I mean.
Right. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely it's
That's
yeah.
what I try to do anyway, and that's
Yeah.
the most,
Yeah.
and
For
that's
sure.
like the most you could do within your own little corner. And I think we were talking about this, why I keep sticking around. But I've had issues like, I'm a mixed martial arts fan, but like these days with the UFC, I find myself being like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
Like, why
Right.
I'm not going to give you any more money. Like, I
Yeah.
don't want to do that.
Sure.
But some of these kids, especially young men coming up within jiu-jitsu, I might be the like most lucky person that they'll have a chance to talk to, like in
Yep.
their
Yeah.
day-to-day life. And
Exactly.
so having that type of role model, whether it's on social media or what have you, even if it's
Hmm.
there, even if you don't talk about this kind of stuff in person, um, I think is important because you get a better understanding outside of whatever side propaganda that you're listening to about what people actually mean from a policy perspective, what it means to engage
Hmm.
civically,
Sure.
particularly locally, within
Yep.
your community,
Yep.
what it means to have a set of values that doesn't change, with the wind, and
Hmm.
like what that actually like what your actual and political goals are, instead of just being on a team uh,
Sure.
about it.
Right.
Uh, you know, uh,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and to
No,
be able
and
to discuss those difficult issues.
totally, yeah, and that's that you bring a good point. It's like, yeah, we exist in this like kind of very seemingly right dominant space,
No, we
but
are. America's the
that's
right wing
just like
country. Like it
yeah,
just
yeah,
is.
right,
Like
just is.
the way it
But
is.
I mean, especially in jujitsu
Hmm.
and like how all the top figures are like, oh, individualists and whatnot. But it's like, yeah, if we just kind of like exit out of that, if we just kind of remove ourselves, then yeah, we kind of let the other people win. It's just
Indeed,
like it's that expression of like
correct.
you're if you stop doing what you enjoy doing, like
Right,
then you're just giving into what they want, right?
correct.
So
You need to
it's like
actively be working in that space, well, to create the
yeah,
space that you want to see
right,
and
yeah,
exist in.
yeah,
I happen to live. It may be different for you in Vegas. I happen to live in
yeah,
an area that's pretty liberal, but
hmm,
so it's easier. But um, it's tough, man. This stuff seeps in. Like
yeah,
uh, the areas, especially around, what's the word I'm looking for? The rhetoric that you hear becomes distressing, and so I think it's incumbent
hmm,
upon people in leadership within those gyms to um, uh, figure out ways to combat that. If anybody, for people listening, I think if you find yourself bristling about creators that you like, or figures that you like expressing a certain type of political opinion, or if you find yourself pushing back against only one side of that, you should unpack why that is. I think you
sure,
should see like why. There's a couple guys on Threads that will say this a lot. They're like, "Hey, do you go into Gordon Ryan's posts when he posts something political, or are you just talking about somebody on the left because you don't like it?" Like that kind
right,
of thing.
sure.
Don't go to Ryan's posts, everybody. Don't do that.
Now I unfollowed him like a long time ago,
Long time ago.
and yeah, I
Mm.
just I don't know. It's
Yeah, it's
like
cool,
I'm
man.
gonna
Do your
see.
thing.
I'm gonna see it anyway. I'm
Yeah,
like I'm gonna
correct.
hear all the important things that are going on anyway. So
Right.
it's like why
I like,
what
so it also depends on what you like. Choose to think about where you're putting your attention.
yeah,
I always recommend Guardian for that example. Like, I
sure,
like what they're
yeah,
doing.
yeah,
I'm liking Craig these days. All right, I'm like, all right,
oh
Craig,
yeah,
like, get out there, man. Well, and he
right,
started doing it with so my boy Calder Powers.
mm-hmm,
Shout out Calder. Go follow
yeah,
Calder Powers. He's basically running Guardian program right now, and he's doing a lot of big things
nice,
with them. He got a spot open up in Ethiopia. He was just out
oh
there.
wow,
Craig went out and did something with those kids. I think Craig started at their place in Peru, where he, was doing some sessions and promotion for them,
mm-hmm,
which has been huge. I think huge for it.
yeah, mm-hmm,
And
it's amazing,
it's a really great organization, man. Like
yeah,
I can't stress that enough. Like, because I
right,
think we talked about this last time. The people, when Guardian, the model is still pretty much the same, but they used to have a physical space
mm-hmm,
prior to the pandemic, and so I
yeah,
was like, being part of that gym was awesome because my adult membership was paying for that kids program, and the kids that often need jujitsu a lot often can't
mm-hmm,
afford it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Often don't have the time, and
right,
so like them being able to provide free jiu-jitsu, a meal, and tutoring services to kids, I think covers a ton of bases
yeah,
for these kids that need outlets like that. And
amazing, yeah,
to bring that model to other countries like that
yeah,
is really great. We're like, you think some people in the U.S. definitely have it bad, but like some of the things that you see in those other countries, I'm like, damn, like
right,
it's real. It's real out there, man.
yep,
And so like to have
for sure.
places like this as pillars where you can start building community is really important. So
Yep, definitely. Cool. All right, let's end it there on a positive note.
yeah, man,
Guardian,
yeah, go follow
check,
Guardian.
yeah, Guardian Jiu Jitsu. It's yeah, incredible program. Doing
Hmm.
good, doing capital G good in the world.
Capital G, good.
Uh, yeah. Anything else you want to shout out or plug or?
You can follow me on Instagram. I'm at Totally Duggan. I compete a lot, but if you're in the Bay Area, drop on by to RGB. I teach every Tuesday at 6 p.m. for a Nogi class, every other
Nice.
Saturday at 10:30 a.m. It's a great space, uh, and it's tough jujitsu, but people will be there with a friendly attitude and a really supportive, encouraging environment.
Awesome. Sweet. Also hit up Doug for technical writing.
Yeah, man, I'm
If
on the
you,
hunt.
yeah, right. He's experienced technical writer. He just randomly dropped in, oh yeah, this load balancer and this Python script and whatnot. Like he just low key flexed on
Hey,
like,
thanks.
yeah, right.
I'm working on
So
that. I'm actually working on trying to get my certified cloud practitioner
nice.
certification, just because everything, all this enterprise stuff is all cloud based and stuff like that.
There you
So,
go. Yeah.
yeah, working on that too. But I'm in the market. So if you see this and you have a company that has a need, reach out to me. I'm
Yep.
happy to talk shop or just see what's up if people want to learn about the field.
Awesome.
All right,
Sweet.
Mike.
Sounds good. All right. Thanks, Doug.
I
Appreciate you
appreciate you
coming
having
on.
me back on, man. It's great.
All
Always
right.
great to be here.
Definitely. All right.
Peace out,
Peace.
brother.